Homemade raw grass-fed butter. Whew, what a mouthful. All right, now let me show you how to do it. You'll of course need your raw cream. I skim mine off of my raw milk before we drink it all. And you'll need a food processor or a blender. I'm going to go ahead and take my cream and pour it into my food processor at about the 3.5 cup line. I've noticed that if I do any more than that, as it starts to fluff up, I have issues with it getting too full. And if I do anything less than that, I feel like I'm just kind of wasting my time. Anywho's, I clicked my lid on, made sure everything was secure, and went ahead and hit the puree button. I'm going to continue to hit that puree button up until I have butter. Now, Tiffany, why don't you just dump all of your heavy cream into the bowl of your stand mixer and make your life so much easier? You could do so much more at a time. Well, let me tell you, if you have ever worked with raw cream and store-bought heavy cream, I'm sure you have found that raw cream can be quite the fickle bitch. Before I get too heavy into why that is, let me explain the difference between raw cream and store-bought heavy cream. Now, of course, a store-bought cream is going to be pasteurized. You could absolutely pasteurize your own cream, but for us, that's just not something we're interested in doing. The other big difference is that store-bought heavy creams contain thickeners and stabilizers. Thickeners and stabilizers are going to guarantee that your heavy cream whips up beautifully into whipped cream or even into butter. Raw cream is a little bit more fickle because it does not contain stabilizers. It does not contain thickeners. The fat content in your cream is also going to vary. For any of you moms who have breastfed, I'm sure you remember while pumping that sometimes you had a nice thick cream line and sometimes you didn't. Sometimes your milk was a slightly different color. These things happen due to change in diet and change of the season, which also affects diet, especially in cows. It's really hard to tell how your cream is going to behave until it is in whatever it is you so choose to make your butter in. There is nothing that grinds my gears quite like butter not coming together, especially when I am in a time pinch. And I am a mom of 2. I am always in a time pinch. So, save yourself the headache. Do it in your food processor or in your blender. Either will work. Anywhoosies, I'm going to keep clicking on my puree button until I start to see butter begin to form. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. You can kind of see how you're chunking up a little bit. Beautiful, keep going. If you look right up at the top, you can watch it almost bounce. And that is because the buttermilk has separated from the butter. That's perfect. Stop right there. Open it up, give her a look. If she's looking like butter, go ahead and strain. I am all about using what you have on hand, so I don't go to the store and buy mesh. I just use my flour sack towels to strain my butter, and it hasn't let me down yet. After you have strained out as much buttermilk as you possibly can, you're going to go ahead, remove your butterball from the cloth or mesh, and give it a good rinse in some cold water. I tend to process a lot of heavy cream in one go, so for me, storing my butter in half-pint jars in the freezer has been the best way to keep my butter fresh for as long as possible. I date my jars before freezing them so that when I pull butter to thaw, I make sure I am using the oldest first. And there you go. That is the foolproof way to make butter with your raw cream.